Hi there, this is Dave with Blue Sky Powered Paragliding. I'm here with you today so that I can answer a couple of your questions with regard to the Parashield product, as well as how a porosity tester works as well. So we've got the Parashield product here that not only restores but also protects your parachute. There's been some confusion as to what the Parashield product can do for you. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you a canopy and basically how a porosity tester works. So first of all, we have the JDC Mark I porosity tester right here. Costs about $1,600 or so from JDC. A little spendy, but definitely does what it's supposed to with regard to telling us how old our parachute is. It's got a little latch down here on the side that basically has a pre-measured volume right here. And then what we do is we put the parachute up over the top of the Mark I tester. We've got a magnetic strip that goes up over the top that has basically an airtight seal. Once we set it up over the top, we pull it tight in all directions so that we don't have any creases or anything on it. Turn the actual device itself on. Oops, there we go. Turn the device on. You can see once I actually start the Mark I tester, this will reset back to 0. And basically, while this is going, I'll explain how this works. So right now this is measuring in seconds. So it's counting the amount of time that it takes to move one volume of air, but it's about 1/4 of a liter or so, through the parachute. So it's actually sucking air through the parachute right now. A brand new parachute will normally go between 400 to 600 seconds as standard for a regular ripstop nylon parachute. If you have an exotic parachute, exotic meaning it's using Galvanor or another similar fabric like Dominico, it's going to be a much higher rating right out of the door. The drawback, of course, is that higher rating comes at a cost of weight. Your glider will weigh a bit more. However, it'll last longer in the long run. So nowadays everybody's all about speed, and they're about basically not only speed but also weight. So they tend to go with a much lighter weight fabric. So with your lighter weight fabrics, you tend to have the issue of porosity starts to become an issue within the first 2 years or so. So right now you can see we're already at 59 seconds, 60 seconds, and it's ticking down basically just over a minute or so, and we're almost at the bottom of our barrel. So this glider just came in from one of my customers and it failed porosity on the majority of the chute. This was basically the only spot that was still good. What we quantify as good is anything over 75 seconds. So if it's 400 seconds when it's brand spanking new, each time that you use the parachute, it's going to tick down a little bit between UV exposure and just general everyday use, until eventually it's going to be so old that it can no longer hold air inside of the parachute, and more air will bleed through the canopy than what stays in. So right now we just passed 100 seconds on this particular portion. It's almost to the dead bottom. As soon as it hits the bottom, this is going to come to a dead stop. Once it freezes and it stops, and here we go, 109.3 seconds. This is where the Parashield product comes in. If your canopy is below 75 seconds, there's a high probability no amount of Parashield is going to be able to bring your canopy back. It's just simple physics. There is a coating that's on your canopy right now. The Parashield bonds to that coating, and without that coating, an existing coating, the Parashield has nothing to hold on to. So in this case, we've got enough coating on there that we can still test, or we can still coat it. So I'm going to spray the Parashield up over the top. You can see I didn't really spray very much. We normally only spray the top surface of the canopy. And when we spray it, we just want to put a nice coating, a nice simple coating on it, nothing too crazy. Of course, Murphy's Law, my spray bottle failed. There we go. We put it on. It only takes about a minute or two to actually dry. So right now it's pretty dang close to drying. We're here in California where it's about 80 degrees out right now, and even inside our shop it's like 75 degrees or so. So I can touch and I can still feel that it's slightly damp to the touch, but just putting my hand on it alone is going to go ahead and help dry it out as well. So I raise the lever back up so that we get back to the original volume of air. They always say seeing is believing, so I figured I'd just do this demo for you guys right here online so you guys can see how it works. And I know there's going to be those of you that like to throw your daggers, and that's okay. I don't care. I don't mind answering it. I wish you guys would put on your big boy pants and just simply call me. A whole lot easier than the internet courage, but that's just Dave talking. Sorry. For those of you that know me, you get the joke right now. Former military guy, still military National Guard. I got a sense of humor. But anyway. Here we go. So we just started the porosity tester again. It's been applied with one very light coating of Parashield. So with the coating of Parashield, or the application of Parashield, it is working off of that existing coating once again. Before, we had about 100 seconds. I'm testing the exact same spot, so that there's no funny business. The camera's on the whole time, and I'm not an electronic genius. I cannot go out of my way to try to make this any better. Once again, the confusion that people have with the Parashield product is not so much that they want to believe that this is a coating, and that if we spray the Parashield product onto uncoated fabric, that it's going to magically create a new coating, which simply isn't the case. It's a flexible coating or a flexible conditioner that will bond to the original coating, and it'll essentially fill in the gaps. Whenever you buy a parachute online and you see somebody, like, especially eBay is the biggest culprit, but somebody's like out there and like, man, the parachute still feels crispy. It's a 1997. I can still feel how crispy it is. You got to think of the coating that's on the parachute very much like peanut brittle. So they spray the coating on. Over time, it gets brittle. And if you're hearing that crispy sound, the crispy sound is actually the coating breaking and flaking off. A new canopy, you can run your hand on the inside of the canopy and you can see the coating coming off in your fingers. So they do have siliconized cloth and some other ones out there that are a little bit different style coating, but regardless, Parashield will work on all of them as long as you have an existing coating to work with. So right now we're already at 91 seconds, 92, 93. We're almost at the 100 seconds that we were at before, and right now the piston that's dropping down still has about another inch or so to go. So just by one simple application, poorly applied at that because the sprayer didn't want to function properly, I put it on there, let it dry for just a few minutes. Right now the added porosity benefit is, I can't get any clearer than this when you see the numbers right now. We're already at 120 seconds. The piston's still got quite a ways to go. It literally is rocket science. I didn't design the stuff. I don't brew the stuff in my basement. I paid a company to go out and make this for me. I paid them a lot of money to figure out how our canopies work, how the ripstop nylon works, and how the coatings that Porsche and other factories that make paraglider cloth, how they do their business so that they could develop a superb product that's going to keep our parachute together. I've had a couple haters out there from some of the paraglider companies that really hate this stuff, and they hate it, partially because it means that you buy less gliders because your glider lasts longer. I get that, it's economics, it makes sense, but I'm cheap like the rest of you guys. I want to try to keep my canopy around as long as I possibly can. So when it came to developing something like this, it was simply, for me, the economics of it is I'm kind of cheap and I don't want to spend $3,000 on a new canopy all the time. So, to back up some of the claims, one of the manufacturers that posted on the PPG, Jeff Gowen's website, I forget the name of it right now, but footflyer.com, posted that if you use the Parashield product, you will surely die. Well, I got to be honest, I think that's a bunch of crap. It's a bunch of crap for a couple different reasons. Number one, the Parashield product doesn't do anything structural-wise. It's not going to take anything away from your glider. That being said, it's not going to add anything either. If your glider is old, it is old. It's not going to magically make the nylon stronger. It's not going to make the seam stronger, the thread stronger. So you still are going to have those same issues with strength that you got to worry about. The other issue that you got to watch out for is convincing yourself that if I just keep adding this stuff over and over again, that it's gonna make my glider stay like new. It does add weight to your glider, okay? It doesn't add a lot of weight to your glider because it is water-based, and once it dries and evaporates, the water evaporates off, it is permanent. Once it's permanent, though, your clock just starts over again. So right now we're at 250 seconds. We've got about half an inch or so left on the piston as it's still coming down. So it's bringing it back to a like-new condition glider. The problem is that if I test it in 4 or 5 months of regular flying, it's going to be down to that 200 seconds, 150 seconds again. It's going to give me one more flying season. It might give you 2 more flying seasons unless you do preventative maintenance. In other words, you buy a brand spanking new glider, you treat it with this as soon as you get it or shortly after you get it, it's going to keep your glider lasting longer, looking new. So really, really good stuff in that respect. For those of you that have mostly white parachutes, if you treat it before you take it out in the dust, your canopy will stay mostly white. If you go take it out in the dust and you get dust on your canopy and then you treat it, the dust is now part of your canopy. So it's going to be married to it at that point. It's debatable whether or not that dust being locked in there is going to create additional wear and tear. I don't know. I don't know if it will or not. It makes sense to me that it would, but I haven't seen it firsthand. What I have seen firsthand is if you leave the dust in there, you spray the fabric with your Parashield, that it's going to have a tendency to keep that color locked in. It's going to give it kind of a dingy look. So the most important place to apply this is on the top surface of your canopy. You do not need to apply it to the bottom surface. The bottom surface does not get near the wear and tear that the top surface does. Between UV rays and high pressure, those two things damage the top of your canopy the most. Right now we're at 345 seconds, by the way. We're still doing pretty good. We got still just a little less than that half an inch. This is one application once again, and as I said, a poorly applied application. Apply just the top surface, apply once every 6 months to a year, and you're going to give your canopy a much longer lifespan. Back to the haters out there, one in particular who will remain nameless, but nonetheless, his claim once again was that you will die because the only way that we can tell the age of a canopy is by the porosity. That is true and very false in another way. I'm not a genius, but there's a placard on the side of the canopy that tells you the year. You know, if you got a canopy that's in that 1990 range or 1995 or later range, it's probably not going to be safe to fly anyway. The design's going to be old. There's a lot better designs out there. If you're in like the 2000 to 2003 range, it's questionable. If it's your favorite glider and you send it to a qualified repair shop and they test it and they say, hey, it's close to failing, but it's still good, that would be the time when you apply it. If you're having unusual behavior, you know, paraglider comes up and the right side always comes up first no matter what the wind, that means that the left side probably doesn't have a whole lot of porosity left. I just had a glider come in from another school that the guy had the right side wingtip collapse on him. Couldn't figure out why. Sent it to me. I tested it. The whole right side of the canopy was completely shot. It tested a whopping 35 seconds, which is like bad. Should have been retired last year. However, applying the Parashield product to it, because that's what he was like, dude, apply Parashield. That really is not going to do much because it's going to wear out pretty quick because there's no original coating left. So anyway, I think you guys are getting the idea. We're at 456 seconds right now. It hasn't completely stopped yet, but it's getting close. I would probably say this canopy is going to complete between 500 to 600 seconds, which is about what a brand spanking new canopy would. Once again, it's going to add life to your canopy, but at the same time, it's not bringing back the original factory coating. It's not a coating, it's a conditioner. It needs the original coating to work with. But in this case, this canopy could be brought back to life by one bottle of Parashield, sprayed on the top surface, wiped down. There's another video online that demonstrates how to apply it. Real simple, nothing complicated. Just use the same cloth while you're wiping it down and go cell by cell. In other words, don't spray down the entire canopy at once. Spray one cell, wipe it down, and then go on to the next cell. And that will ensure that you have enough product to use on the entire top surface of the canopy. That'll also keep the product from drying out and maybe spotting or blotching the canopy while you're going. The Parashield product has a white kind of milky appearance. It's really, really thick. You know, it's not like I had one dude ask me if it was Armor All. I'm like, no, it's not Armor All. If you're so inclined, do a taste test. Stuff tastes terrible. Armor All doesn't have quite as bad a taste. It tastes bad, but you can tell that it's not the same product. I'm not endorsing you to eat this stuff. Use common sense. I'm just saying it's not Armor All. There's another product out there called Aerospace something or other. I don't remember what the exact name is, but it's another product that some guys have used in the past and had similar success. Once again, it's not that product. You know, this is our own blend made for us. When you get your Parashield, you will see that when you open it up, you can see what the product looks like on the inside. You'll see that it's got a much thicker film to it, and a lot of times it actually builds up on the inside of the bottle. It looks like milk, you know, milk, like real milk, not the fake stuff that we use now. But nonetheless, pretty good stuff. I've been really happy with it. The folks that have used it, especially the guys that wanted to hate it, they wanted to hate everything about it, bought a bottle, figured, all right, you know, what am I going to be out? The worst I'm going to be out is $44 and shipping, and I can write this guy a horrible review. One guy over in Ohio actually bought it, sprayed it on his canopy that he was having unpredictable kiting. I saw him posting on one of the PPG sites out there how he was going to show me up, and you know, when I find out what this stuff is, we're going to take this guy down, blah, blah, blah. Ended up calling me up, and then he emailed me a very nice review that said, man, I didn't want to believe it, but not only did I use it, I flew with it, and then after I was done flying with it, I noticed that I used way less fuel than I'd been using in the past, presumably because the porosity was so much less, I needed way less power to actually stay afloat. So right now it just finally stopped.